And good morning. It's a green can. I forgot my water. I grabbed some out of the fridge this morning. Hi. It's that over there. Boom, boom, boom. All right. So it dawned on me, while I wasn't streaming yesterday, due to reasons, that I had seen Combine used with one view. And why? Why was it used with just one view? Why would you need that? It's called Combine. Normally you would use it with two views, two pieces. So what is it? What is it that... Rather, how is that useful? And it might be useful for what we're trying to do. We need something that has access to mount and update, etc. Right? All the inner pieces that we don't have access to. Does it just push the problem out one layer? I'm not sure. We look at Combine. When we go to call mount, rather, when is mount called? Is it called when it's returned in the HTML? Because there's a difference between render, just where it shows up in the HTML, and mount. One does not mean the other. Well, we don't have access to this with function. we do have access to mount here on combine. And it can call this function for us. Does that mean we need to call with? So I believe we can call clone. Perhaps there's something we can do here. This needs to receive a message. Message with a certain type. Self message here, which is going to be either one. This guy. Maybe. Words make computers go burr. Hey, sudo. I wonder if I still have that installed. Oh, I don't. Cargo install burr. Did I install the wrong one? Or was I about to? Oh, use a cloud build farm to make Rust build fast. No, that's not what I want. I wanted 3 R's? Oh, 4 R's. 3 R's. Cargo burr. Yeah, this one. This one, 4 R's. Cargo. All right. Now that the excitement's over, we can get back to work. Lots of R's. Yeah, it does pretty much the same thing. All right. Coming back here, though. Any words, make computer, make cargo burr. Yes. Okay. So we were looking at this and wondering What actually calls mount? Yeah, cargo bird. Yeah. It's a slow burn. Slow burn. It kind of takes off, you know. All right. So parent view is going to have child. Oh, I wonder. It could be given to the parent view. Can we just give it a type? I'm going to scrap the Fibonacci bit for now. We want all the members. Default members included. Okay. Keep something simple. No. Stop it. There we go. Okay, mount. What do we do with mount? We just log it. Log. Do we have tracing? Parent view, child view. Not this one. We'll log here as well. Error, just so we know what's happening. You can see it easily. We'll use exclamation marks just so it looks exciting. Okay. Okay, now for the content. How do we do this? How? Hey Diablo, how you doing? Okay. So then when we render, we ask self.child render. And this happens to work because our message types are the same. Okay. Otherwise, render here, we would need to call map and map that content. We'll get to that in just a moment. Okay, but update. How do we call update? Trying something new. 128 column terminal when full screen. To like 18 to 20 point on a normal monitor. Good morning. So with typical Axum, yes, I believe so. You could use a templater, which would be completely separate, but with Axum Live View, you can't. You cannot. The structure here is very much tied to the diffing algorithm, so it has to be the same one. Great compile time guarantees? Yes. Yep. That's gonna get fun. Mm-hmm. Hopefully we get to the point where the UI for this is mostly done. Right. So I'm not worried about that. We get fun for you in 30 minutes. Changes on critical production systems. Yeah. I don't want to talk about it. Too soon. Can't talk about it. Data event self message. Okay, so we receive message, we receive data, but how do we call update on this self.child thing? Right? Because we'll consume it. So really, we need to call update on self. Working on a C# VMI application? Interesting. What's a VMI application? I put my gloves on. It's a little chilly out here today. Vendor managed inventory. Ooh. I think we're going down the same problem, that we can create a new self. Normally we would pass self through. I guess we are doing that, aren't we? But when we call update on the but by doing so we don't call update on the child. So if we received a message that was really for the child, self.update, then we would give the message to the child. That will consume the child because update consumes self. Returns an updated self. And that updated self has to go back into Axum Live View. Update its reference of it. An ERP, nothing good will come of this. Huh. It's always bad. Oh, that's rough. Oh, we're going to run into the same problem here. Because we cannot recreate these pieces. We could try and take, like, wrap this child view, right? An option. We take it out of the option. We call update. And then what? Then we get... Let's see. Let child equals self.child take map c.update message data. Okay. But then what do we do with child? Child in this case needs to somehow fold into that there. And what does combine do in this case? Combine on update, because it has access to deconstruct this, it can do it. Right now, we just want to collect these spawns. Really, we just want that piece there. We can pass that through, right? That's easy. That's in the constructor. That would be putting the child back into self. Self.child.replace or insert. No, we don't want insert. We want replace. Because this is an option, I guess we know that it always exists, so we could unwrap it. Or we could map it, or if let some child. Oh, but it's an updated child. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Right, and we can't take those pieces apart because our child view has been wrapped in an update. Of course. Of course, of course. I want like a method on update that can combine these. So funny that it's like black there. Did we get the texture? Yeah, we get the background. I need some new backgrounds too. I was thinking about that yesterday. Okay, so for update, we see that it's still an issue even if we use combine. I'm going to do a global search for calls to mount. Lifecycle, sure. That seems reasonable. Run view. So run view is called, I think it was in the embed. Yes, embed calls wrap in live view container. Wrap in live view container calls, oh, it just wraps it. Okay. That returns HTML. Who calls run view? Here. Run view on socket. So this gets a view. In this case, we have our embed live view, gather view, interesting. That's just a view. Extract.
Everybody shaking.
Oh, I see. So this is the live response piece from the root view. Got it. Okay. There's a response that contains an embedded live view. Can we do that more than once? Or embed live views more than once? Probably doesn't make sense to. Because of the socket. We would need more than one socket. Okay, regardless. Run view on socket. We get a view. What does gather view do? Oh, it's a function that's passed in. Oh. That's the base HTML. Okay. So in the example, that would be this here, this section. Gather view. Okay. F returns HTML, fine. Does that... We pass the embed into that view. And that then goes into embed live view.embed. I see. That view comes through there. So that's something inside of this object. I think we've seen that. Okay, so we get this view that was passed in. Split the readers and writers. And eventually we run the view. We get the reader, the writer, the view, the URI, and the headers. Now when we run that view, spawn view. Oh, interesting. What is spawn view? Then we call mount. So they do mount the view, then render the view. So mount happens first, then render. We get the markup out of it. Stream. And we loop here. Okay. There's a big loop. What do we do in the loop? Match the data that's coming in next. We get a message. Take that message. If it's a message for view, or rather a message from the socket, some sort of event, we call view update. Interesting. So depending on the update response we get, I thought update returned. Oh, that's. We create a one-shot channel. We have a request to update the view. We send it. Reply. Ew. These things are wrapped. We have one-shot channels everywhere to make them send. Got it. Let's go back a little. Still want to look in here. Well, mostly in run view. Where's our loop? Here's our loop. Then we write the message back out. Okay. Oh, and spawn view. I wanted to see that. Also pub crate. Wrap and live view container. See. This is interesting. We basically end up with our little live pieces of the view in our HTML. We would go to game, UI mod, and here. We would create our view here, and then sprinkle into this view live pieces. Those live pieces can then be messaged via the Axiom Live View system in order to generate updates. Where does it store those? We have run view. That takes a live view. I'll mount, but this mount here was on a view task handle. Is that incorrect? Oh, because we call spawn view. Spawn view wraps them in a view task handle. Oh, that makes so much sense now. kind of want to write something with live views. Yes. Don't we all? Don't we all? Oh, maybe. Oh, and I saw an interesting ropes implementation the other day. That I think most of the performant kind of server-side rendering pieces actually use what, IOVEX? Okay, so basically what happens? What happens here? In spawn view, we get our view and an option to a view handle. What? Wait, what is the view handle for? Handle? Oh, we create a new view handle. Got it. So what, when we call run view, is this, where is this? Is this inside? We're not spawned or anything. This isn't its own task. This then falls into a loop where it mostly loops forever. Yeah, that's pretty much loop forever. Oh, there's a break there. Ah, yeah, if the socket dies. Okay. So when we call spawn view and we give it the view, doesn't this thing need to recurse? And in this case, do spawn something out, wrap in live view container. View.render. Interesting markup. Where is that called? This here is called in multiple places. Oh. Here in embed. Here in spawn unit. Here, I can't tell. There's new markup here. Wrap in L something. And here's the definition. What's this one? Spawn view. Okay, so it happens multiple places in this function. I didn't realize that I didn't even bother to check that the HTML was getting wrapped with these. On your way to add live views to pages that don't need it. And make them require JS just in the process, just because I can. Seems reasonable. In this case, when we've spawned the view, we then get this view handle back and call mount on it. Mount sends the mount request to that view handle. Okay, so let's take a look at that view handle a little bit closer. So we get the mount request. We call view mount, boom, like so. And this is all designed for a very flat structure where view pieces do not contain other view pieces. So we could move a lot of the logic up to the very top of the render. And conditionally include them there. I don't know if we could even do that. I think we can. Yeah, you can use conditionals there. Hey, Tobbs, how you doing? Render. And this is where we return. Clone spawn unit. So we return the view handle. No. Where is it? Here's our new view. Where does that go? View becomes new view. And what is view? It's just a live view. So after we call update, or after update is called, render is called, there's a diff on the markup that's returned. And what happens to our view? It gets wrapped in a live view container. No, it doesn't. New view. This, yeah, that's just a trait. Okay. Fascinating. Hey, Pink Floyd. Let's see. Officially a Linux baby now. Bruno Codes, how you doing? The part that I'm not seeing here is where view is update, like the view is being held on to. Because we need this chain of updates to happen indefinitely. Right. If you don't render returns to HTML, it does not consume view. If you update, returns a new view, right, which is where this chain needs to exist. And here we set view to equal new view. Is great, but it doesn't, this isn't by reference, it's not a pointer, we're not updating what was passed in. This is not a mutable reference to a view. So here we're just clobbering the previous one just to make sure we're not using it again. So where does that get preserved? Not in render. That's it. So, yeah, I'm not seeing it here. Just not seeing it. Spawn unit, view handle. Oh, just to go over this again. The spawn, Helix, come on, give me a break. Spawn view is called. A view is passed. Oh, it's a mutable view. Ew. I see. So does that updates the view then, doesn't it? So what is a view? That's ew. Out of curiosity, Rust question here. Why is this not dereferencing view? Or saying, like, what is pointed to by view now becomes the new view? Well, we say it's mutable, and then if we just clobber it, we're good? Change foo, moot foo. X foo. Doesn't return it, just says foo is equal to foo bar 5. Something like that. Where I think there's value assigned to foo is never read. Isn't that a move though? That's what I was wondering. It feels like it's doing something like so. So that we can just change it, right? We're just clobbering it. We're not changing the one outside in the outer scope. So a borrow of moved value F. Oh. Oh, it's moved. Okay. So that moves when it goes into there. So same thing happened here. We took ownership of you. Then we clobbered it. And then we left it. Oh, it could be copy. Then what's... Oh... Sure. But it is our views copy? They're not required to be copy. You just moved off Nixos for homeos. I don't know, that's a great question though. Updated, okay. I don't see other impulse here. Oh, but are we in a loop? We're in a loop. So we just set this for the next time around the loop. Oh. That's it. That's it. Okay, so we set the view here so that the next time around the merry-go-round here, the view is the last view that was updated. I see it now. Okay. Because we're in a loop. Okay. Well, that's unfortunate. Got it. So the view just gets updated for the next time around. Then we call view update again. So it really just lives in this loop, which is fantastic. Okay. got it. I mean, this makes sense why it's all flat now. So how do we adjust this so that you can have child views? Okay, so let's go back. Let's see this other discussion again. Under counter page, and you pass your view in. Adjusted the angle of my little heater. So I'm cold. Okay. You have to handle that yourself in your view implementation. Boom, boom, boom. Halsey went from facepalm to thinking emoji. Well. Almost time to shave the beard off again. Or at least clean it up. I've let it go too long. We'll have to do that. Not on stream, of course. No. That'd just be me time. Well, it's not that it's not treating me well. It's that I'm trying to use a hammer like a screwdriver. Or a screwdriver like a hammer, whichever way. And so essentially you can do, stuff like this just mostly okay. To me, it just feels like I don't understand how to compose things with it. So it's this piece here that has led me down this rabbit hole. And that you have to handle that yourself in your view implementation, right? Handle what yourself? Well, nesting one inside the other. So I was trying to do that. But we run into little issues. Either we don't have the ability to combine updates. And now that we see how updates are used, yeah, and how mount is called, because mount gets called, there's a proxy involved, so it's not really intended for that. Like you could render that one inside the other, but you couldn't, let's say, have mount propagate. And only your top level component gets mount called or update. But you could render. Render's just fine. Is that enough? Means your top level components have to maintain all the state for interior components. It could be okay. Because of how that proxy works. Unless there's another way to kind of embed into that chain somewhere else. Because we need to have basically spawn view called for each of our components. If we don't have spawn view called, we don't get it wrapped in a live view container, we don't get, you know, this proxy set up. This TXRX, where does mount get called? View.mount, you are a handle. Handle is, where does handle come from? Here? Yep. Okay. I want to look at the documentation on this yet again. Axum Live View. Okay. When we call response and we pass in this piece here, it basically embeds this counter, this piece here. And it spawns a task and associates a task with the WebSocket, and they can send messages back and forth. And those messages are sent to those little loops running. One loop for each component. Oh, here's one component. And their siblings. And we don't appear to have a way to spawn other view pieces. However, let's verify that. Findings. Pros and cons, simple concept. Okay. A view handle is provided to a view in mount. Extractor for embedding live views in HTML templates. Whoa. Embed live view. Type used to embed live views in HTML templates. Fantastic. Can we do this twice? Consume self provides HTML. No, we can only do this once. Anything else? No. Hey, what are we building? Good morning. And yes, my little bot has yet to be resurrected. However, today we are working on understanding Axum Live View and how to compose components using Axum Live View. It's not in crates.io or anything. It's just in GitHub. So if you know what live views are in Phoenix or whatever they call it in the latest version of Rails, it's basically the same thing, but for Rust. And basically right now I'm kind of bemoaning the fact that I can't nest components, not the way I want to. I can nest the rendering of the components, but not the lifecycle parts, mount and update. And most of that is because we do not have access in this updated piece. So update, we cannot chain properly because updated consume self. And we don't have a way to combine these. I think I understand it much better now, especially after seeing the proxy part. Because internally there are these tasks that are spawned into these little loops, and you interact with those loops with messages. But we cannot just create new spawned UI components willy-nilly. They have to be basically top-level components. Like so. Embedded here. And this is all for, eventually we'll be building, and I guess currently we are building, a web-based MUD, a multi-user dungeon, where the updates are passed to the client via a WebSocket. It's not going to be a kind of a React-heavy client either. It's going to be everything rendered on the server and then pushed to the client. Okay. I think people will continue to try to do this with Axum Live View. I wonder if there's something that we could add that would help this. What happens if we have some conditional? Because you can have ifs in here. What if we had a conditional at the topmost level? Can we do that? I don't think we can. What if we go way out of... I don't know, I kind of want to go back to the game server, stop looking at Axum Live View here at the internals of it. But there's something that's just... I want to spend a little bit more time. What happens when your view is unmounted? It's removed from the DOM. Can you even do that? I don't think you can. Okay. New markup, wrap in live view container, render. We differ from the previous one. Save the markup for the next time around. Send the update. I see. Thinking about here is how we would, some of the edge cases that this couldn't actually handle yet if we were nesting these views. One is destruction. You can mount a component, but you cannot unmount it. What I'm thinking is, wouldn't it be nice if we could have like a nest function, or where is it? Parent view. Here we go. Like something where we could add and remove children. Hey, Moscow bitch, how you doing? What would that look like? We need some way to attach them here. We need some way to get rid of them. essentially just a way for whatever the parent is to spawn a child. I don't think it's the parent's responsibility to call update on it. Update, I think, would be called by something else. So maybe in mount, you would register that, hey, I've got this other little dingleberry. Right.
So am I. The computer that we have running our news from time to time took off and went wild. So what we're going to do is start over from the
What if mount could also return children? But that only gives us the ability to create it once, so you would have to preemptively create everything. Not so good. So let's say you had 3 states for a parent view. Right? True, false, and other. And the typical JavaScript try bool, right? And you were showing 3 different components to represent that, right? A thumbs up, thumbs down, and then like a, I don't know. How would we do that here? Would we... To me, it seems like render would be a good place to hook that in. Or introduce something with updated. Like, hey, I've got this. A new view for you to handle, right?
Well, if you're wondering what's happened.
Back to Vim. What happened to VS Code? You're close. You're half right. This is Helix. What happened to VSC? Yeah, I don't think about it much. It's not comfortable. It's more of a fling, really. How is it? That's pretty good. Yeah, enjoying it. What are we coding? Hey, Thomas. We are coding web-based MUD. So instead of having to telnet into something, you should be able to connect to it directly. And at the moment, we are exploring Axum Live View so that the server can push UI pieces to the front end. That's right. This is a happy place. We don't talk about those horrible moments. Unless we are, of course, talking about horrible moments, but that doesn't happen very often. And currently in Axum Live View, you get these lifecycle events, right? Mount, render, update. A render returns HTML. It gets diffed and sent out to the client. Update is for events that the client might send you. Right? I clicked a button, a form submitted, etc. Mounting happens just before render. Gives you some information and gives you this wonderful handle so that you can receive information from other places and then send messages to update. So in our example here, our game engine would be able to send a message to us, and then we would be able to forward that on to update and change the UI and push a diff to the client. You know, it was good for some things. It was good for some things, but it just wasn't me. Okay, so given this API that we're looking at, and And the idea that when Axum Live View mounts a view, like here, embeds a view, excuse me, it spawns little tasks for each view component. How do we also make it so that something like a parent view could spawn children? Okay, first I want to see, let's see, is the server actually running? Actually, compiling, I mean. Unlikely. Type annotations needed. Yeah. Because we were in the middle of trying to figure this out. So we went to a simpler example. Let's run one of the other examples from Axum Live View. There we go, run -p clock. Run. Oh, what port is it listening on? $3,000. Okay. Current time. Okay. Fascinating. We open up the debugger. Oh, there we go. Look here at the WebSocket. Should be able to look at. There we go. We're getting messages constantly from the server, and it's updating just a portion of the UI. If we look at the inspector, we have this div live view container for what? Just around this element. But what if we had two? Would it be around just one of them? I wonder which one's having problems. Oh, it's the debugger. Debugger doesn't like that. Okay. It's fine. We do look at the traffic though. Oh, let's reload. RDD0D0. This looks like it's the full-time piece here. I'm not sure what the T. Oh, let's see, type. Maybe that's replace. D. Is that data? Who knows? D0, D0. And a value. Maybe this is div 0? I don't know. let's change the example for clock just a touch. Current time. Div. Sure. And that might actually just be enough. Let's run it again. Still the same. How does it know that's what we want to update? What does it start as before the WebSocket kicks in? Looks like it's just fine. There's nothing special there. Okay. Now, what if we did combine? Now, combine's still going to let you have things side by side, just fine. You can only have 8 things side by side. I feel like we're going to run into a limitation here. Because we can only go so wide, right? Unless we're nesting combines and other combines, and how is that going to work? That I'm not sure. No, you can't do that, right? Nesting's the piece that we're having trouble with. I want to look again at life cycle. Test. Close that. We only call spawn view here in run view. Oh, and thank you for the follows, everyone. White Rose, thank you. McFlurry, thank you. Spawn view. Damn. One view on socket. Fine. Other view. What else do we have? Right. No. Nope. Okay. Let's take a look at chat. Wrong window. Okay, let's go to 3000. Oh, look at this. We've got our message. It says it's too quiet. Got one live view container. We've got a form. A console down there. Okay. And if we say, I think this is supposed to be like your name. Now these elements were updated, etc. Let's look here. I want to see this one. Interesting. Enabled. What is it? What does this mean? Oh, the button's disabled now. But if we give it some text, we're sending the text up. I see. If we give one character here, does this button become enabled by the back end? Oh, we received something. Ah, it is no longer disabled. And we have a heartbeat. Interesting. So what if we're just thinking about this like upside down, like way wrong, right? Because in the conditional rendering piece, it goes on to say, David PDRSN here says, hey, you can just define render counter page, right? And you pass your view in. What does this mean? What was the question then? I want to try to build a live view app with just one large live view impl. So also routing can be inside the impl. Oh, I see. So they're rendering different pieces of the view. I see. However, just not get the file too large. You want to extract functions that return HTML self message. Okay. A suggestion here, because depending on what's getting rendered, right? Do we want to render the counter example, right, straight from the examples, or something else? Right, the home page or the counter page? Seems like that's backwards, but whatever. Render counter page. And you could pass a reference to your view into it. Can you, though? what does this imply? This implies that we're receiving a view and a function and then calling render? Or I would be okay having some monolithic message type. That would be fine with me. So composing these things with that, I don't think is a problem. What do you call an illegally parked frog? Toad. It does not have... Well, it has... You can't nest, but you can have siblings. So composition... No? I like this song. All right. What does he mean that? You can just define blah, render counter page, and have it take the view. That'd be self. You can have a separate render function that generates part of the tree, the current state. You can't compose a whole separate component inside the render. Seems odd. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I've been trying to figure out. If we could even add that, I think that would be a great thing to be able to contribute to something like this. But how do we wire up the life cycle events? Feels like the life cycle events need a little massaging to be able to support that. Because right now it does not appear as though top level components can come and go. And rendering and diffing the rendering does not have the ability to traverse into other components. Perhaps we build Mr. Halsey's live view. I think it's more powerful to have the ability to nest them than to have them horizontal, right, as siblings. So you could essentially get whatever you needed if you could nest them, right? I definitely want the ability to have these views nested within each other. be a fun project. Basically change Axum Live View so that it's not, so it's not east-west, it's north-south, whatever. Right? Focus on nesting as opposed to all right, y'all. Issue 61. Let's see, what is 61? Yes. So this merge here with map lets you nest the rendering. I believe that's how I read it. But it does not give you access to the life cycle events. So mount and update do not get mixed with this. The problem ends up being that the update you cannot compose, you cannot decompose update well enough to be able to construct a new update. And then in mount, you do not have access to the width function off of the view handle. So you'd have to clone the view handle and wait, is that, let's see, was that the view handle? Mount. Where's mount? Render. Update. Yep. Yeah, you get a view handle. So you can forward and you can send messages. View handle's clonable. It might. I wonder if it would be enough to add something to a view handle to spawn children, right? But then how would you associate, how would you know the diff is updated correctly? I don't know. It does seem like there's some other sort of life cycle event that's missing. A view handle again. Okay. It's a wrapper on the sender. That's fine. Send, forward. This is the function we do not have access to. But I don't think it's actually that important. I think what's more important is that the child view gets spawned into its own little event loop. And that's currently not happening. In fact, does that only ever happen to the top level component? It does. And then combine, you can use in order to be able to proxy the messages down into your child components. Okay, but you can only go like 8 wide on that. Oh, you're back from a stressful meeting. It's going to be my life soon. Okay. This is unread. Got it. Okay, so instead of combine, I want something else. Right. I want us to be able to embed live view, right, with a view. And our little embed here, we should be able to have some other function which lets us init or spawn child pieces that end up getting combined, or the spawn child pieces. We just want child views to be spawned, and then in the render function we can call render on those components, but I don't think we want to be responsible for calling mount. How do we manage render here? Because render is going to end up being async if we have these things floating around, right? Because render, we would have to send a message to another component that would have to then render and send it back to us. Then we take that HTML, combine it into our HTML, and forward it on. It's meh, not great. I see why it's flat right now. Because in order to make this send... Sure. Go ahead and share. You basically have to use that. What? All function, context, self, pub sub con on message. Huh. Ooh. Because that next would need a longer lifetime. Oh. All right, y'all. Well, my time is about up. I'm leaning more and more towards cannibalizing Axum Live View into something else. Or adjusting it. Maybe just adjusting it. So we need renders to be able to be nested, right? Do we leave that up to the component tree? Maybe. The top level renders are handled by Axum Live View, but then they're just straight calls all the way through for the diffing, etc. Possible. Live views for the time being. What would we go to? This is it. This is the only way. I don't really want to go Telnet. I wanted a slightly richer user experience than just the client-side rent. No, dear. Xenocron, that's one. All right. It is a little bit more mature. However, you know, the other one is okay. Dioxys. Also has server-side rendering. They have some little pieces. You cannot hold the virtual DOM across in a waypoint. Currently not thread safe, so it must remain on the thread it started. Okay, but can it nest? What is this about, please? If I see your channel about game dev, is it in Unity 3D or HTML and JSON? So, great question. We are considering, well, we're attempting to write a game, a MUD, if you will. MUD is a multi-user dungeon, popular in the 1990s. You would telnet to your favorite BBS, or actually you would dial up to your BBS, and hopefully it had lots and lots of nodes, so you could interact in a MUD with many other people. Now, trying to do the same sort of thing, but using modern technologies. So I was trying to use something like Phoenix Live View, but with Rust. Yeah, that's about what we got at the moment. So at this point, we're trying to do server-side rendering for the MUD UI, and then have the ability to push diffs to the client, which is essentially what Live View does. Great question. Not Unity 3D, but it is HTML and a touch of JavaScript. I feel like the HTML bit, and I'm not getting the information I need out of this. Live view, blah, glue, HTML format. Okay. That's not all that helpful. I want to know whether or not we can nest components. Here we have a view. We have some glue. Where does the view get used? No. Here? So we would have some view at that point, associate it with this WebSocket piece. No. Cheers. Thank you, Soul. Soul Tanamadi. Welcome. And unfortunately, we're at the very end of my stream. What I'm thinking is that inside of Axum Live View, it would be lovely if the HTML, where is it? HTML piece. Here. Right? If when you did this, if you had something embedded, like, some component, that it would do a little bit of magic for you. And I think that's what's missing from Axum Live View. It's a little bit of magic for the nesting piece, where the diffing could see that this component isn't created. Let's create it. Or it could see this component is no longer here. Let's destroy it. I think that is the piece that's missing. All right, y'all. I think we're gonna start on that next time. So let's get ready to raid. Okay. Step 1 done. Step 2. Software and game development. What do we have going on? Rust. Oh, cool. We got some Portuguese. Nice. Let's give it a scroll. It would be much easier if everybody just tagged themselves using Rust. Oh, there's me. Rust. Python developer learns Rust. We shall descend upon them. Belgium. Fascinating. All right, y'all. It's been a lot of fun, but I think that diff needs some more magic, right? That's I think where things have to change for Axum Live View. You should be able to nest components just in HTML. Just put it right in there. Right? That you're putting a component there. And then the magic happens. So, well, till next time. Bye-bye. Oh, yeah. And usually I stream before work, so this is the very end of my stream. And so probably about 3 hours before now. I try 2.5. Let's be realistic. 2.5 hours before now. And 2 hours before work. So, all right. Take care, y'all. Bye-bye. This is the part where I wait to see myself say goodbye. There we go.